You got it.
Cryptocurrency startup that runs popular online game Axie Infinity says that hackers stole more than $500 million worth of cryptocurrency. Yahoo Finance's cryptocurrency reporter David Hollerith has the details. David.
Brian, so yesterday, developers of the Ronin network, which was created by Axie Infinity, it's essentially the blockchain that the game runs on for payment rails, announced through a blog post that they had discovered a hacker had stolen $540 million worth of cryptocurrency last week on March 23rd. So that makes the running total as of today's market value somewhere around $615 million, which is the second largest cryptocurrency theft in history. A little bit of background on what exactly happened. As I said, so Ronin is the blockchain for this game Axie Infinity. That's primarily what it's used. And it's what's known as a side chain, meaning it's sort of connected to the Ethereum blockchain, but it was created by Sky Mavis, the company that made Axie Infinity, as a way to sort of cheapen transaction costs so that game players could, more easily play the game without having to, pay so much up front just for simple gameplay. So Ronin is mainly used as a scaling solution in that regard. And now what we're seeing is sort of that, compared to traditional banking, what happened was, you have a bank teller. If you have a bank account, you have to ask your bank teller if you want to transfer to another account in another bank. You have to ask them to approve the transfer. And of course, they will check and verify that you actually have the funds. Now, in the crypto world, it works a little bit differently in that instead of bank tellers, you have these things on a blockchain, which are computers called validator nodes. And validator nodes, basically, they range in the number on each blockchain, but on Ronin, there are only 9 validators, and you need 5 of them to actually gain approval to essentially transfer your assets. So what happened was the hacker essentially gained access to 5 of the validator nodes and then asked to have their funds transferred off the Ronin network. So essentially, they were able to forge the signatures that would be needed from the validators, and they were able to basically credit their account off of the Ronin blockchain with funds they didn't have.
Sounds complicated, I have to say, David. I wanted to ask you, so first of all, it's my understanding that for games like this, it's not just like people in the West who are playing these games, right? I'm told it's like cab drivers in Indonesia. So in other words, this hits people across a broad range. So what is Ronin planning to do about this? I mean, is there any recourse for people?
Yeah, so I think it's all about reputation at this point with cryptocurrency companies. A few months back, Wormhole, which was sort of another sort of transfer bank you can think of that transferred assets between Ethereum and Solana, was hacked in sort of a similar manner, and they lost $325 million in the process. And they had Jump Trading, which is a company that is sort of an early backer of this software project. They quickly decided to make users whole. Now, Ronin hasn't decided exactly the Ronin network hasn't made a decision yet about what to do, but it seems pretty clear that they want to make sure investors' funds are recovered. They're also working pretty extensively with law enforcement to sort of track down the funds. And as this is a crypto crime, it's sort of interesting. Everybody can look at where the funds are right now. They've been sort of moved around to centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. So law enforcement and blockchain analysis companies and the Ronin network developers are all actively looking at this. I mean, the most obvious thing that's happened immediately, though, is that they've sort of closed up transfers on and off of the blockchain and are sort of coming up with a better way to sort of shore up the fact that they had, a fairly small amount of validators that were sort of approving transactions, and that can sort of create a security problem.
I just miss the days, David, where you could play Nintendo or Farmville and call it a day. But nonetheless, appreciate seeing you here this morning. David Hollerith, thanks so much.